Hello everyone, and now welcome. Alright, let me double check this. I shouldn't need to do this, but let me do it anyways. Yes, hello everyone, and welcome now to game 2 in the series. This is, of course, between ZhouXixi and Shun. ZhouXixi is, I believe... let me double check this. ZhouXixi, I believe, is the Night Elf player over here on the bottom left-hand side of Death Road. Meanwhile, on the top right, we do, in fact, have Shun spawning as the light blue Undead. Game 1 really pretty much going in favor of the Undead after the heavy pressure with the Naga Sea Witch. The Night Elf player just seemed to be on the ropes the entire time. He did get a couple of lucky breaks, and the final score did appear fairly close. But every time I looked at any battle or any engagement, the Night Elf just wasn't making that many great decisions. Fighting with inferior forces, fighting out of position, not being able to focus fire very, very easily just led to a lot of problems for him as he is now finding himself in a 1-0 hole in this series. Will he be able to even up the series? Let's go ahead and take a look as we are going into a Death Knight. Tomb of Relics is being placed down, and we are also building up a crypt. For those of you guys who do not know, yes, there is brush right there, and that means that even you cannot see beyond the brush. That is one of those things where you do have an extra entrance into your base. It does sometimes cause a bit of problems, but Night Elf players are generally liking this map from what I've seen because of the very, very unique creep order. You can in fact take down this very high level, all level 3 creep camp pretty quickly if you have an Ancient of War built off right over here. Let's see if we are going to be seeing that. It doesn't seem that way. No, it looks as though the Ancient of War is going off over here instead. You can see that the Renegade Wizard is taking a bit of damage, and now the Archer purposely backing away. You can see how much damage is being dealt. This 5-3-3 creep camp will completely fall as the Warden now getting up to level, or will be able to get up very close to level 2. Claws of Attack +6, a very nice item for that Warden, and I would not be surprised if we saw a solo Warden as the hero. Solo Warden does have a number of advantages. It is able to eat through, and when I mean eat through, I do in fact eat through ghouls like none other. That Shadow Strike does deal a lot of damage. It also slows the unit for the Warden to finish up and try and take down that unit. Also, unlike the Keeper of the Grove, the Warden has a lot of survivability with Blink. And on top of that, if the Warden does decide to go for Fan of Knives is a very, very effective harasser, as you're able to just blink in Fan of Knives, take down a couple of acolytes, and blink out. Let's take a look at this. There's a Shadow Strike onto a low hit point ghoul already. All right, the Death Knight, is he going to be able to get the Death Coil off? Yes, he does, saving that ghoul from near certain... I don't know, can you save an undead unit from death? Anyways, let's come back around. Are we going to be seeing a little bit more attacks coming in? It looks like one skeletal minion may get taken down. Yes, there it goes, giving level 2 to the Warden. And that was a huge level right there, as the Warden can no longer be surrounded if it does, in fact, tech Blink. Archer quickly going to be shadow melting itself, as the Death Knight did not purchase Dust of Appearance. Coming back around here, the Warden does have those Claws of Attack +6. Is it going to try to go after some of these acolytes? No, it is just running around in circles, causing pressure. But he is also buying time for the Ancient of War off here to try and creep out this particular creep camp. You can see that the archers have made their way over. There is that Ancient of War. It is taking a lot of damage, and this is going to be a two-part battle as the Warden is harassing while the archers are attempting to take down the giant skeletal warriors here. This is going to be a very, very effective harassment, or harassment coming in from the Warden, as the Warden is going to be gaining experience. The Death Knight still sitting at level 1, unable to really creep out that effectively. You can see now a couple of units have been taken down. Oh, this Ancient of War is going to get destroyed, though. No Wisp in play. Oh, wow, what is this? The Ancient of War finally gets taken down after a long time. But what is this Warden doing? The Warden is still sitting at level 2, getting closer to level 3. Has to be extremely careful here. But one of the benefits of archers is that they do, in fact, have normal or medium armor, meaning that they actually take reduced damage from Oh, from these other units here, because in fact it is piercing. All right, shadow melding. Oh, it needs the shadow meld. What's going to be happening? Rune of Rebirth. Oh, is it going to fall in time? Oh, Rune of Rebirth. 2 more archers now coming in to join in on this fight, and those are going to be some very, very beefy units. Coming back around, the archers will need to heal up. The warden could, in fact, try to creep out the other creep camp that is off over here and pick up the other burning archers. That would be extremely beneficial for him, as we now see the Death Knight creeping after the giant skeleton warriors, and this is actually an added benefit to Undead. If you did not notice, they are in fact fighting on Blight. So the Death Knight is regenerating his hit points slightly faster. All right, in comes the Warden. The Warden perhaps did not realize how bad of a situation she was gonna be in this fight. Currently taking a lot of slow damage from that Halls of the Dead, and now we can also see some ticking damage by this one particular Shadow Strike. That Shadow Strike, is it enough to actually take down a ghoul? I'm not sure if it is. If it's on Blight, if it's enough. Oh my goodness, Blight saves the day there. The ghoul survives at 2 hit points. Ghoul is now backing off. It looks as though, yes, the skeletal marksmen are there. Cloak of Shadows has been picked up. The quickest sell on any hero whatsoever, as the Warden does not need the Cloak of Shadows at all. All right, there is a high ground there in order to try and get to this Goblin Merchant Shop. There is a Trapper as well. What is the Warden doing, holding on to that item? That makes absolutely no sense, as we are now looking at the Warden coming around the corner. All right, here we go. Oh, we could get some easy damage. There it is, a Shadow Strike. However, a Frost Nova onto the Warden. Damage still being dealt around, though, as the skeletal warriors do deal a fair amount of damage. Unfortunately for the Death Knight cannot Shadow Strike those, Death Coil those other units. All right, the creep camp is extremely difficult to try and take down. As we can see, the Lich is just getting absolutely pummeled by all of these cold arrows and other attacks. Here we go. We can see that there's going to be another Shadow Strike. The Death Knight taking a lot of damage. It will be able to escape, but it is going to give the 2 additional Burning and Skeletal Marksmen to the Night Elf. Oh, this is going to be a huge turnaround. There's 1 Rune of Rebirth, a 2nd Rune of Rebirth, and these are perhaps some of the most deadly creep camps on the map. The Skeletal Marksmen and the Burning Archers both deal a tremendous amount of damage, and with their piercing damage, they still deal a lot of damage to ghouls and abominations. The Death Knight now forced to stay inside his base, as we can see that the Warden is now feeling a little bit more adventurous. Gonna be selling that that Cloak of Shadows, trying to take down everything here. Their Potion of Invulnerability now being picked up, as I believe the rest of the items are gone. It's just going to finish up this creep camp here, and then perhaps head over to the Moonwells and get something to drink. Oh, Tome of Intelligence +2. Is it going to be picked up by that Warden later? We'll just have to see. Warden able to get over here. Gonna be, there we go. Finally using those Moonwells, but getting back up almost to full, as we now see the rest of the units gathering together. So far, there are still a number of creep camps. Both sides now really looking to creep out. Creep camps, Elder Sasquatch, Tome of Agility +2, in addition to a replenishment potion. Not that useful of an item at this stage in the game, but with all these Trents falling, the Lich will have an easy time getting to level 2. Meanwhile, more creeping coming in, as it looks as though a Troll Berserker will get taken down. Was actually a Marksman taken down. That would have been a huge loss. Yes, a Burning Archer was lost there, and I'm not exactly sure what the Night Elf player was thinking. He just perhaps mismanaged, mismicroed, but that is not something you can do at this point. All right, there's the Ensnare. All right, Skeletal Marksman is taking a bit of damage. You can see the Roar did come down. Another one goes down. And these units are irreplaceable at this point. Pendant of Energy has been left behind. The Warden could go back to pick it up here in just a moment. Does have a Staff of Teleportation. Has not decided to use it yet. There's a Shadow Strike. Are we going to see a Fan of Knives? Yes, we are. And now that ghoul will bite the dust rather quickly. Yes, there it goes. Come on, there it goes. Finally getting taken down. All right, 75 damage for another Shadow Strike there. Perhaps another Acolyte will get taken down. Just needs one more attack. No, the Acolyte, his days are pretty much numbered. 2 more ticks, 1 more tick, and there it goes. Meanwhile, back over here, did we see the Pendant of Energy picked up? Yes, it is now on a Panda. The Panda looking very, very strong as the Warden now sitting at level 5. Interesting choice by the Night Elf player to not go for a solo Warden. Level 6 Warden is perhaps one of the strongest ultimates in the entire game, but it does tend to fall off a bit if your opponent has 2 level 5 heroes. We are seeing the attack still coming in. That Skeletal Marksman is taking a bit of damage here as the Panda is trying to engage. So far, all those units are going to be falling as we could perhaps be seeing some rejuvenation onto one of those archers. A Dryad goes down rather quickly, and this is still not looking that good. All of the free rebirth units, which are irreplaceable, have pretty much been taken down except for 2. That Skeletal Marksman, nope, except for 1. As it will finally get taken down here. The Warden, however, still posing a really big threat. Wandering around the map, you can see that there is a Divine Shield on that Bandit Lord. That Bandit Lord, invulnerable at this point, now fighting against the Death Knight and everything else. Meanwhile, oh, we see some units. What is this? Why did the Warden just let that Crypt Fiend walk by? That is a huge misstep, as we are going into an expansion for the Night Elf. Alright, archers now trying to regroup. We can see that there are a couple of bears off over here. We could perhaps see some rejuvenations onto those archers. There's 1 rejuvenation, there's 2, as the Druid of the Claw now needs to join in on this fight off over here. There is, however, double Ancients of Lore that were fighting and actually dealing damage to the units that were trying to come in from the back. Meanwhile, the Warden is going to be coming in from the back, and how much damage can it look to do as it gets in a nice Fan of Knives. Orb of Venom causing problems as you now see that the Destroyer is or was taking a little bit of damage over time, and it didn't look like that attack really did much of anything. So far, it really feels like the Warden and her harassment has really been pulling the Night Elf player ahead this time. It has been a completely different game. Level 3 on the Death Knight does have an Ankh of Reincarnation. Level 3 on the Lich compared to a level 4, level 2. But that is almost level 5. Here we go. There is level 4 now on the Death Knight. And what is this? A flare gun? I don't even know what that does anymore. As we now see more attacks coming in. All right, the Warden still coming in, getting in some shots here. Are we perhaps going to see more damage being dealt? What is that Warden doing? Could have gotten an extra hit on something at the least in order to try and get some more poison damage going. That was not a good fight at all. That could have been much better for the Warden. But the fact that the Warden has an expansion could be, I guess, his or her saving grace, depending on if you're talking about the player or the hero sex. Alright, there is an Elder Sasquatch there, 1 level 6 hero. It is a Green Creek camp, but don't let it fool you. There will be a whole bunch of Trents here in just a moment. There they are, Trents now coming in, so it's a 6-2-2-2 creep camp with Abolish Magic on Dryads to finish that off in an instant. Level 3 on the Panda, as we also are looking into some Sentry Wards. The Warden now looking to come in, and does it have Blink? It doesn't really look like it, but we are going to get a Shadow Strike. There's a Shadow Strike there, and now we could see perhaps some more Fan of Knives. This one poor Acolyte will get taken down, and it will end up giving level of 5 to that Warden. That Warden now is going to be able to Fan of Knives, takes down even more Acolytes, as the Warden is just going to finish off Acolyte after Acolyte. Alright, this Acolyte off to the north was able to escape, as we now see the expansion has been spotted. The Destroyers needing to clean that up and in a hurry. And here we go. Abomination's now looking to come in. Dryads getting that slow poison onto that Abomination, as we are looking at the Dryads and the Archers still both battling it out. Alright, looking at this, the Undead does have a bit of an advantage here, but it is surrounded, as we now see the Warden getting off a Fan of Knives, only to be counteracted by a heal, followed by a Breath of Fire. This is looking out very good right now for the Warden, as the Warden does have a Potion of Mana. Another Fan of Knives comes down. There's another Breath of Fire, and with so much AoE, Warden is just completely, and the Warden and the Panda are completely destroying this Undead army. All that is left is a couple of Destroyers in the air. There's another Fan of Knives. There's a Breath of Fire taking down another Crypt Fiend there, as the Death Knight now has that little Shadow Strike guy just constantly haunting him. This is not looking good. Warden gets off another Fan of Knives. Oh, is he going to be able to do anything? Oh, Staff of Preservation saves the Warden just in time, as we are now seeing the units all try to back off. This is looking as a very, very bad fight as the Death Knight. Oh, Frost Nova onto the Panda. The Panda could use the Scroll Town portal. And is it going to be able to get away in time? It looks as though the Panda is running away and damage is being dealt. There's the Scroll of Town portal pulling the units away as the Warden now tries to come in for a bit of harassment. All right, saving that Panda there. There's a rejuvenation. And it looks as though the Druids of the Claw have plenty of mana to keep this army alive at this point. Meanwhile, the Warden is still not finished yet, going after all these units. Oh, the Warden could get taken down. Yes, the Warden does get taken down. And the Shadow Strike on the Death Knight, is it going to be enough to finish off the last, down to 45 hit points? One more attack could do it, down to 2 hit points. Wow, natural or holy aura for the win. Unholy aura for the win there, as we see that the Death Knight survives with 2 hit points after the Shadow Strike. Very, very close. Obsidian Statue, every point of healing was absolutely necessary, as the Warden now heading back home to perhaps get a rejuvenation bath from some bears and also get some more mana. Surprisingly, I don't see the shop anywhere in... Oh, there's the shop. We could perhaps see all the Moonwells. There you go. There's a Clarity Potion as well. Going to be using that Potion of Mana later. Not using the Moonstone, though, to try and get more Moon Juice into those Moonwells. Death Knight still low on hit points. This Bandit Lord dealing a bit of damage. Now backing off. Still does give +3 armor to everyone around him. Very, very nice, as we see that the Bandit Lord will finally get taken down. Meanwhile, bottom right corner, Panda has picked up a red Drake egg. All right, red Drake egg. Very, very interesting play, as we are now looking at what once again the Warden will be doing. All right, let's take a look. There's a Shadow Strike there. One goes down already. Fan of Knives could be coming in. All right, or he could actually drop the Pendant of Energy and try to do this. Are we going to see a Fan of Knives? There's a Shadow Strike. And are we going to see a Fan of Knives? No, we are not. He could have, or she could have dropped the Pendant of Energy, used the Potion of Mana, picked it back up, and then Fan of Knives with still more mana to spare for another Shadow Strike. But the Destroyers got their way, way too early. Warden still looking good. We should be seeing a rejuvenation. Come on. There's the rejuvenation there, as we are going to be rejuvenating perhaps a couple of Dryads and Bears as well. The Warden now once again on the move across the field, does have a Staff of Teleportation and a Staff of Preservation in order to get in and around the map rather quickly. Fountain of Power in play. Fountain of Power always very interesting, as it regenerates both life and mana. All right, the Maiden of Pain does get taken down. Pendant of Mana being left behind, as the Panda may try to get to level 5 here. If the Panda can get to level 5 off of this particular creep camp, that would be a huge turnaround, as the Warden still cannot creep. You can see that the Black Citadel, all right, what's going on? Blinking away from there, did not want to engage at all, as we are now looking at the Dryads taking way more damage than they should be. Bears now making their way forward. Nether Drake taking a bit of damage, and there you go. It looks as though, yes, it is going to be Siphon Life. The Maiden of Pain quickly taking that down. But I don't believe that was a very good target at all, since the Archer didn't have that much life to begin with. Maiden of Pain will get taken down. There it goes. Staff of Silence being left in its place, as the Panda gets to level 4 and is 8 experience shy from level 5. All right, may try to creep out the top right-hand side. We can see that there is an expansion on the bottom right by the Undead. And so far, unlucky ensnare there, as the Destroyers are now being forced over. Warden still sitting at level 5. Could, in fact, try to take down the rest of these Acolytes here, getting it to level 6. The Warden does have a fair amount of mana. There is a Shadow Strike onto a Ghoul. And now the Warden is just going to be looking here to get in some easy damage. Not quite sure what's going on, why it's attacking the Haunted Gold Mine. That doesn't make any sense to me, as there is the Acolytes nearby. All right, Staff of Teleportation coming into play. You can see that the base is being attacked over here. And now the Warden does pick up Talisman of the Wind, gets teleported or gets teleported over here to a Squirrel Town portal in, as all the units are now backing off. All right, the Panda is ready to go. Oh, Panda taking a lot of damage there. Potion of Invulnerability, Staff of Silence, it has been used as the bear is going to get taken down. All right, the Red Drake, not really that useful, as the destroyers would be able to just unsummon it in an instant, and all of those destroyers, or the destroyers seemingly having mana, taking down all of these Druids of the Claw. But now we finally see some Hippogriffs joining in on the fight, and now the Warden is just over here as well, perhaps doing a lot of harassment. There's the attack. All right, Panda's Staff of Preservation is saved. The Red Drake is being brought over. And what is going on here? The Death Knight now needing to save the Lich, but who's going to save the Death Knight, as the Warden still just unleashing plenty of attacks? So far, it looks as though the Lich is in a bit of trouble. There is a, what I thought to be a Death Knight, sorry, a Shadow Strike actually turned out to be a Death Coil, as the bear is gonna not be able to escape. You can see a whole bunch of summon units now on the field, but the summon units actually gonna give mana to those destroyers again, and that is just an absolute sad play. Perhaps bad item drops for the Night Elf player is actually putting him in his current predicament, as the Warden is now sitting at level 6. All right, let's take a look at what's gonna be happening here. The Warden, all right. What is that? It blinks its way across. Staff of Preservation. There's plenty of corpses around. Not quite sure why it's not being used. Oh, the Death Knight does use that Squirrel Town portal. Is the Squirrel Invulnerability going to last long enough, as the Death Knight does return back home? Yes, he does have enough invulnerability to shake off that Shadow Strike once more. So far, it looks as though the Panda sitting at level 5. Staff of Silence, not altogether that useful. You can see that there are Druids of the Claw nearby as well. Hippogriffs are in the air with weapons upgrades, so they should be able to peck down those destroyers. The Warden sitting at level 6, blinking across the map, and this is where things could get actually interesting. The Avatar of Vengeance, if it's brought over here, it can actually just take down the base slowly but surely. As wow, what is that Warden looking to do? That Warden is just an absolute death wish. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. Did it get another Shadow Strike? Is it going to be able to blink? Shadow Strike takes down the Death Knight, only to see an Ankh of Reincarnation used just in time. Well, obviously just in time. Over here, I still don't know if the Night Elf player knows that there's an expansion on the bottom right-hand side of the map. Let's take a look at it. Yes, he finally noticed and realizes it. He's going to be going after this haunted gold mine here, and this gold mine will get taken out rather quickly, as all the acolytes are going to fall. No way to Scroll of Town portal and save it. All right, Abomination and Crypt Fiend now making its way over. Hippogriff trying to join in on the fight. Let's see the Dryads getting in a couple of free shots as well, as the Warden now a little bit more gung-ho to perhaps chase after that Death Knight, who no longer has that Ankh of Reincarnation. Both sides still fighting it out. Hippogriff still trying to chase. The Hippogriffs will be able to do a bit of damage there, as they are still poking and poking. One Abomination does go down. Panda, very low on hit points, does use a potion of healing in order to stay alive. Staff of Teleportation for the Warden to get back in. We may see a Staff of Preservation as Rejuvenation now onto that Panda there. Both sides are still engaging, as we are still looking at this fight. So far, a Breath of Fire now comes in, and now the Avatar of Vengeance has been brought over. Warden sitting very, very low, does teleport away just in time, as the Hippogriffs have now finished off, I believe, all of the destroyers. Destroyers are now down. Staff of Preservation saving the Warden again, as the Death Knight forced to use a Scroll of Town portal in order to stay alive. It looks like, yes, that will be successful, as the gold mine on the bottom right will finally get taken out. All right. Only 2 Spirits of Vengeances. Not quite sure why the Avatar isn't going to bring more. If it just attacks with those Spirits of Vengeance, it can deal a lot of damage. No more gold here in the top right gold mine. And now it is 2 bases to 1. 2 mining bases to 1, something that rarely ever happens in a WarCraft 3 game, as the Warden is looking to perhaps get in a easy kill. All right, there is the... What happened there? Oh, it blinked away. Can't really keep track of that very, very fast-moving Warden, able to blink around the map and move around oh so quickly. All right, top left-hand side of the map will get cleared out. That is a Tree of Life trying to research Nature's Blessing. Not quite sure why it's not happening at the Tree of Eternity. as we are going to see this Tree of Life pretty much get taken out before it can harvest any actual gold. All right, Wisp, 1 down, 2 down. Destroyer is now looking to back off. It is 1 base to 0 as the Death Knight does save this Destroyer here. We are now going to be heading over to the Fountain of Power, regenerating both hit points and mana. You can actually see that the Obsidian statue is regenerating. Is it actually regenerating mana? No, it cannot regenerate mana fast enough. If it perhaps actually had the other Obsidian statue giving mana. No, oh, wait, that was the Obsidian statue. Of course the Obsidian statue can regenerate mana. It was just also spending it. All right, Obsidian statue now looking to back off. We can see both sides are going to be engaging. The Warden sitting at level 6. Just a blinking machine. Scroll of Town portal. And now everyone needs to get the heck out of that fight, as the Warden is a one-woman killing machine. As the Warden now blinks forward. Is it going to be able to catch up with that Lich? No, decides not to. And I'm not quite sure what the Warden is really waiting to do. The Warden is actually one of the few heroes that gets significantly more powerful as the hero levels go up. And unlike the Mountain King or the Demon Hunter, at level 7 Demon Hunter versus a level 6 Demon Hunter is about the same. However, a level 7 Warden is much more scary because it gets higher level blinks. Faster cooldowns, more mana, all of those just do tend to make for a very, very bad day, as the Lich suffering a lot of damage here. Is it going to be able to survive this? All right, we could see a blink forward here in just a moment. All right, Staff of Preservation does save that, and there's the Breath of Fire. There's a Shadow Strike now onto the Death Knight, as the Death Knight now retreating again. Lich does have a potion of healing, and this is just turned into a giant tug-of-war battle as the bear gets taken down. Frost Nova, Death Coil, old school, Undead nuking. All we are missing now, oh, what is that? A beautiful, beautiful blink and straight into a Shadow Strike. No Fan of Knives to finish it off, though, as the Destroyer is going to get picked out of the air. All right, this is looking very good. Where did that Warden go? Oh, Warden now going after the Death Knight. The Death Knight is on Blight, does have... oh, is it going to be able to survive? One more tick will take it down. Oh my gosh, down to 9 hit points. And it still does survive after using a potion of healing. Warden really, really out for his man. He wants to meet and greet that Death Knight, and in a hurry. Meanwhile, the Lich is now sitting at level 6. Really not that scary. Death and Decay, not what it was in WarCraft 2. As we are now looking at the Warden, looking to pressure here inside the main base. Black Citadel taking a lot of damage here. Dryad taking a lot of damage. It looks like that will be backing off, as we are now unsummoning buildings in order to get more gold. That's never a situation you want to be in. All right, the Destroyer. Oh, Staff of Preservation. Is it going to save the bear? Yes, it will. Saving the bear, returning him all the way back home. But this game, I pretty much believe, is already over. I cannot imagine the Night Elf player losing this matchup unless he completely threw away the game. Staff of Preservation does save it, as we're now looking at another Shadow Strike. Oh, Druid of the Claw, very low on hit points, getting taken down again. Any Druid of the Claw in Druid mode is just ripe for destruction with a Death Coil Frost Nova 1-2 punch. Death Coil does save that Lich once more, 600 hit points. However, it is dropping rather quickly. Panda now in play. There's Earth, Storm, and Fire. 2 level 6 abilities, as we could see a Cyclone. No Cyclone on the Death Knight to try to stop the Death Coil. There we go. Finally, Cyclone on the Death Knight to stop the Death Coil. But is it enough? As we are now waiting for the final hit. There is level 7 Warden. There goes the Death Knight. And yes, that is the game. A very, very one-sided match in Game 2, where the Night Elf was just able to creep out with his level 2 hero all by himself, while the Warden was constantly laying down pressure. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 2. Please tune into Game 3.